Welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast. We have Jillyn Johnson with us today. Jillyn ran an agency for the past 16 years, been at the last company, a SaaS, I think, Boomerang FX, and now is building a AI voice solution, I would guess. She has a couple of patents as well at Build Solutions in Houston. So, Jill, glad to have you on. Can you give us a quick intro about yourself and what you're up to?
Sure, Charles. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to do this today. Yes, the background on me is I have always been an entrepreneur at heart. As you mentioned, I ran a marketing agency, and the beauty is I ran a marketing agency, but I never had to market myself. And so I was very fortunate to get 100% referrals from that. And everything that I have done since then has really culminated out of those relationships and pushed me into and towards AI. So within about 5 years now, I've been really focused on AI, embedding it within SaaS applications, and now taking it out into individual AI voice applications. And that's really my specialty. How do we get voice to be so pure, so natural, and trustworthy that we're willing to give it to grandma? And that's our product called Gus.
Interesting. Yeah, let's start with your agency career, right? Like 16 years. What led you out of the agency game? Like why transfer from agency model to, I guess, SaaS?
Good question. The owner that I had worked with, he was one of my clients for the better part of probably 12 years of that, cosmetic surgeon, very well recognized worldwide. The thought of going to found something with him with millions and millions of dollars of backing was really exciting. I could see the exit, but I could also see the process between. So taking and designing SaaS is something that's always been a passion of mine. I love getting in the back end of software. I don't like to code, but I truly understand it. That was my engineering background. And I love the thought of making it easier. It's not true health. I mean, it is healthcare, but it's not what you would call your general practitioner, et cetera. So we had a little bit more flexibility. And I wanted somebody simply to sit down with a tablet and be able to look at what the trends are in the marketplace and be able to consult with somebody and say, this is what I predict you should have for your face, for your cosmetic surgery, because other people who have your same skincare, your same regimen, your same exposure to the sun are doing the same thing, and they're seeing amazing results. So by accessing all that data, using AI to surface that data, that was the vision that I wanted to see. And so kind of being bored with the agency, it was a very good challenge that I was excited to get into.
There you go. And the products that I saw on the website, why get into AI voice of all things?
It's so much better than a chatbot to me. And voice can actually be voice and chat. So the widgets that we've been using, if you think about somebody's website, and at first I did start developing AI chatbots for ophthalmology, and it was fun and it was great. Very slow to move though, right? Healthcare is slow to adopt because of all the trust factors. But chat wasn't enough. You could click to go a little bit faster, but voice is really where it's at. And so now that tools like 11 Labs have widgets built in that you can talk to, but you can also type on, it just makes the experience so much more free and free-flowing and precise, because somebody can type in Jillyn, for example, Jillyn at Build Solutions. If I type that or say that, it might get it wrong. But if I type it in, it's accurate and it's got it. And so that's just an example of the hybrid that I love working on.
Yeah, it depends on the persona as well. I know a bunch of founders nowadays that just use Whisperflow to talk to a computer to write down notes, right? Instead of just writing, they talk to the computer a full day, which is pretty intriguing. I still find value in typing stuff and reading it as I type. I type pretty fast as well. Some of the personas also that you address, like older folks, for example, I think like voice is definitely the best way. Tell me a bit more about that one, Gus. It seems that it's a flagship product. Tell me why you are targeting older folks with that one, and what was the challenge in building it and deploying it to market?
Sure. First of all, what's your word per count? Like, what's your typing word per count? Do you know?
I think it's like 300
The
per
word per
minute,
minute?
something like that.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that is incredible. Okay, you do not need to go to voice then. So,
Well, no,
uh,
maybe 200 if I'm more reasonable. I'm always like over the top, not conservative. Maybe 200. It's just still pretty fast, I guess.
that's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
I'm about 160, and I think that that's comfortable for me. So I'm the same way. I like to type. My mother, who is 83 years old, we really look at our benchmark, I will say, was her trying to text me and say simply, Jillyn, I'm going to be late for dinner, maybe about 15 minutes, but I'm on my way. If it takes her more than 15 minutes to type out that text, because she's such a perfectionist and she really wants to get the punctuation just right, and she wants to make sure that she's happy when she writes it, all the words are just exactly the same way, that are exactly accurate, that takes her more time than is necessary. And so with Gus, one of the very simple things that he does is text for her. So she simply says to her tablet that's sitting in the living room, or she can call it on her phone, and she says, Gus, send Jillyn a text that I'm going to be 15 minutes late for dinner. Done. Like, how long did that take me? 5 seconds?
Yeah.
And so when you really look at senior living, they've got visual impairments, right? So the near vision starts to degrade. They've got cognitive, perhaps, deficiencies. And now they've got kind of tactical because of their vision. They can't see as well. And so all of these things, we said, it's not about technology. It's just about enablement. Help them to do the things that they want to do, but faster, so that they can go on and live their lives. And quite honestly, the problem before that, how we really got started with Gus, was social isolation, or otherwise known as loneliness. So my parents are very fortunate. They have each other. But imagine when a woman loses her husband. Maybe she can, if she lost a dog, she can go and get a new dog. But she loses her husband that she's used to talking with every single day of her life. She's 75 years old. She doesn't have anybody around every day. She doesn't have her person. And so where Gus comes in is he can literally be a tablet on the table in the morning that can say good morning, that can ground her, that can talk to her about her day. They can plan out what they're going to do for the meals. They can maybe play some audio games together. We play I Spy, and it's actually delightful. So all these different things she can do throughout the day, and it can either be on, like I'm going to say the A word in case I trigger anybody's devices in the home, but it can be either always on like that, or it can be accessed when you call it. And so a companion that fills that gap, that's what we strove to do.
Right. And Build Solutions, it's selling to agencies. So it's selling the framework for that agent. So who would buy that? Is it SaaS? Is it agency as well? Give me like the process here.
Sure. So it's not a B2B sale. We considered that for a while, but we didn't want to get into all of the ramifications that it takes for HIPAA, not because of a technical standpoint. I've delivered HIPAA products, but we really didn't want this to have to be something that a senior living center would have to sell. We wanted people to be able to come to us, and quite frankly, customer support can now be a voice bot too. And so we really wanted to get human with it. We want to get personal with it. And for the people living at home, they actually have the most social isolation. And if we can reach them through the kids my age, right, through people who are midlife, kind of in that sandwich stage of life, maybe have some guilt. I know that I've got some guilt. I can't get out to see my parents quite often enough. And I don't know what enough is, but I always feel like I'm never quite there. And so if I know that Gus is there, and I even call Gus and I tell him things about my life and my kids' life and things going on so that they don't have to remember it all, then it becomes more of a family tool, and it bridges that gap between all of us. And so we are selling direct, and people can buy it online.
Got it. So $100 a month for Gus. So it would be the kids of that parents, right? What do they get exactly? Is it an app, or how does that work?
Yeah, right now we've got an app through Android, and you can download it to a tablet. The tablet seems to be the most logical for the senior environment because it's a little bit larger. But what we've done is we've taken everything else off it. We've like stripped all the other apps on it and just put this beautiful picture of Gus. I'm sorry, I don't have it with me right now. But this cute little picture of Gus on there and then a green button. Green means go, green means press. And so very, very low tech, easy way. Now on their phone, we have the adult child program in the favorites and it just says call Gus. And they call Gus and it's phone number. So it's as simple as we could possibly make it for them. And then founder's wisdom, right? You got to go back and say, well, how are they going to get used to using it? And so then we did a whole process of adoption. And the adoption is every single day. It's like a drip campaign. Every single day, you're kind of teaching them a little bit more about what it can do. And at the same time, you're learning about them. So we are storing memories. We're storing a lot of good information about them. So we know how to relate to them, how to reference what they did yesterday, how to engage with them about the sports scores that they care about that are happening right now, or the Olympics if they really care about that. And so you're engaging with them in such a way that every single day it builds upon itself and it teaches them that that companion is there when they need it.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd love to see a demo of that. You've tested it on your mom. Was that the mom test in action?
I did. I have learned so much through this. So it was, gosh, I left a voice, or I finished a contract in healthcare, I don't know, April, let's say. So the very first thing I did was get started on an app for my mother. And I said, well, you know what? I talk to ChatGPT every day, advanced voice. Why don't I build something for her? I didn't want her to go directly to chat because I knew that it wasn't safe. And gosh, people were getting self-harm by bots, and that's a real thing, right? And so I know that it needed to be monitored. I knew that it needed to be safe, and it needed to be kind of narrow for her. I didn't want it to just be, hey, I can talk to you about anything. And so I set up the guardrails. I put up the safety parameters. And by May, she was talking to this, and it became obvious. And by the way, she's cognitively declining. So she has like stage 2 dementia. And through this process, she has declined. And so as I'm looking at my target market, I realize it's not my mother, to be honest. So it's taken her longer to adopt it. It's taken her longer to depend on it or even know what to ask it. And it's intimidating too. And so we've had to solve all these problems along the way, but I don't think we would have solved them had I not been able to witness her using it, talking about it. I videotape her. It's so delightful to watch her get excited about this. It truly is.
You actually have access to their convos, or is that too much?
I don't have access to her entire conversation, but what we do is we collect certain snippets of it and then save those into the database. And so it does have that level of privacy and security, and it actually strips out the PII, the personal identifiable information, before it ever gets to us. And I'll tell you, you had asked earlier about our go-to-market and how the adoption is. My partner and I have failed to mention, but my business partner, Jeff, he and I were so excited. We were going to go to market for Christmas. And we're like, man, all these people are going to want to get this for their parents. They can package it up. If they choose the tablet, it's a one-time upfront fee, and then it's a monthly fee. Everything's great. We put a red ribbon on our website. And then we started talking about it, and we said, how does the adult child know that it's working, know that it's safe, and it's not doing either irreparable harm to their parent, or that it's not drifting or doing all these things that we hear in the news that AI can do, going down a rabbit hole that we don't want it to. And so we said, okay, we're going to pause. And literally we took 2 months to finish a patentable idea that I had had the spring before. We finished the patent. It's now a process that takes those same fields on setup, and it not only measures them for the day and delivers a report. So as the adult child, I receive a report every day to know that it's working as it's intended. My parents are using it. There's conversations are happening. It even surfaces the marketing fields for me and says, hey, Gus said this in the context of playing I Spy, for example, or the person laughed at this. And so now I know that it's performing, but more importantly is the builder. Now I'm putting on my builder hat, not my daughter hat for a second. I can see a deeper report that shows me if it's drifting, if it's accurate, and if it's safe. And so we have a 24-point measurement on the back end that's specific to voice, right? So I can hook it up to 11 Labs, Retail, VAPI, all the big guys, Bland, love Bland, by the way. I can hook it up to all of those and inform the builder how it's going and what they need to do before it ever becomes an issue to get out there to market. And so I'm really happy that we took that pause because now we have peace about delivering it.
Yeah, let's double click on that. I don't watch the news, but what part of it is true? Like, can someone really harm themselves through AI?
Well, unfortunately, there was an incident in 2025 where I believe it was a teenager, ended up committing suicide because the AI coached him to do it. And that same thing could
Did
happen
it
to any.
coach him or like step by step, or did it just like agree with their emotions?
That's a good question. I did not dig into the specifics of that one. But if you think about how AI works, it wants to please you. So if the person, let's just say, for example, and I don't know the exact case, but let's say that the person says, I am just done. I am done trying. I've gone to all the medical doctors. There's nothing else working for me. How can I possibly get past today? I just want to end it. The AI wanting to please you could lead you down a path. I'm just saying could
OpenAI won't
to do that.
precisely. Maybe others
Correct.
will. Because OpenAI is quite careful about that. I mean, they're the OGs, right? But the
Yep.
sycophancy is real. But even the sycophancy should make someone feel better about themselves. Has a really nice way to speak to people, and if anything, I don't think. I mean, there's always exception, right? And how
Mhm.
you can view some things, but yeah, I don't think chat is actively contributing to that. Like the old way would be even worse. Like Google, you can access the dark web pretty quickly, and there you'll find blogs
Mhm.
that are hosted on a shady host and will have instructions, right, of how to hang yourself, for example, and stuff like that. So yeah, but the sycophancy is a real issue also. Not like existential one, not life and death, but it will make someone that is on the tendency of megalomania, or someone that is very egotistic, narcissistic. It will make them very. It will make them feel very good about themselves. Always like, oh yeah, you're right, and that's quite dangerous. I think most people don't know how to prompt an AI properly, and that's the same reason why Gus can be successful, right? OpenAI is out there. Like an old person technically could call OpenAI and have a chat with it, but they don't really know how to do it. Hey, I had another questions related to that. It's
Mhm.
$100 a month, but you also charge like per minute. What do you do if like they spend their full day on the phone with the AI and you get $1,000 bill?
We do not. It's the average, right? And so we're really looking at some days will be high, some days will be low, some users will be high, some users will be low. And 100 a month was our target. I actually think that we're going to be lowering it over time. As you know, LLMs themselves are coming down over time. And so we'll probably try to make it more affordable. Just right now, we have a lot of upfront costs that we're trying to get out of the red.
Got it.
Uh,
To
yeah.
continue on the philosophy tangent, what does that mean if we all have these AI companions now? I think they're great. I think life is better right now for sure. Especially me on mine, very intellectual, right? I love to talk about a bunch of topics and get the science behind them and the truth. So I think it's just fun to chat with these AIs, but does that mean I speak less to my loved ones? I don't think so necessarily. What do you envision in an AI companion future?
I like that a lot. It's in my vision of it, it is a progression. And so this morning, for example, I realized that we've always known that Gus is just voice. right? So he's on a tablet, so it does have the potential of us adding photos. It does have the potential of us adding video. We haven't done that yet. But the next logical solution would be for us to partner with somebody like an OpenAI who's going to be coming out. I don't know if you've heard this yet, but they're coming out with a smart speaker. And so if that smart speaker, be it the A word or Google or whomever,
It's
might
so
be in your
better
living
than
room.
the A words. Thank God that they're doing it.
Exactly. The A word, even the
For
plus version
Apple,
just
even
has
worse.
been
Apple is like,
underwhelming.
oh, terrible on the AI front.
Yes. Oh, agree. So all of these smart speakers have limitations, and one of them is speaker or user recognition. So with OpenAI's announcement of the speaker, they're actually adding a camera to it, which is perfect. So if that ends up being a household utility, then it would be a great add-on. What ours is different is it's storing these memories, and it's storing selective memories so that it will treat the man of the house, for example, differently than it would the woman of the house. And by storing that, knowing that, and personalizing it, it can interact better. It can play the right games. It can treat you with the right level of cognitive impairment that you do or don't have. Companionship, family, all of that. So it can learn separately. So I'm really excited about the future of it, going from what is right now just voice alone to speaker alone. And then there are some people, we've done our research, we know what's out there. There are actually some little robots that are targeting elderly or seniors. And it's kind of quirky, I'll be honest. But I do think that eventually that might be the next progression, because you think about holding somebody up when they step off a curb. If somebody's living alone, wouldn't it be nice if they had a robot that was like, hey, there's a curb coming up and I'll give you an arm?
Yeah, it'd be great. I'm just curious, why would Alexa and Siri, for example, why isn't Apple partnering with OpenAI? Why isn't Amazon partnering with them and is bringing them to literally, they'll dominate the market, ChatGPT, if they have their own speaker for sure. Why can't they just like partner with them on day one instead of waiting 3 years? The consumers are losing. It seems that they would be losing massive market shares by not integrating. Why do you think they waited and they didn't partner with OpenAI, which in what I know, OpenAI has tried reaching out to these brands and trying to partner with them? Why would they not do that?
Well, from my research with Amazon specifically, it's their tendency from corporate leadership not to purchase or, in many cases, partner with a lot of other companies. They build in-house. They like their Rufus, for example, their AI, but they didn't want to purchase somebody else's to come in. And so they have tried. Now, specifically, I've researched their history with senior companions and senior applications, senior focused applications. And twice now they've gone down that path, launched something. I think the last one was $49 a month, and then canceled the project. So they are struggling with it. They recognize that there's a huge audience and a huge opportunity for it, but they haven't been able to break into it. Now, I don't have any idea about employees or focus or even the money that they're putting behind it. But I also know that that's not necessarily an option for me to approach Amazon, because it's not their way. It's not their corporate way.
Do you think more corporations will survive? Granted that AI moves so fast, can probably generate empires in like months, if not weeks, if not days in the future. And if these guys move so slow,
I don't think, just to be clear, I don't think Amazon's moving slowly at all. I think they're a fantastic fulfillment powerhouse, distribution. They've really got their act together. They're lean. Unfortunately, they've cut a lot, like tens of thousands of people lately. And I don't like that from a human standpoint. I would rather repurpose the subject matter experts. However, yes, they are moving slowly in terms of
innovation.
Alexa. Oh, I hope I'm not triggering in Alexa innovation, and they're moving slowly within the senior companion space. that to me
And
is so needed.
just
We
that
we
is
all saw it.
another AI error when you think about it. Like every time you say Alexa, it will trigger her. An AI should know that you're not trying to trigger it, right? It's
Yes.
ridiculous. It's they're moving so slow in my opinion. I think I've diagnosed that in a lot of companies, just that the founder is gone. Jeff is gone. He's chilling on his yacht, and when there's no real stakeholders, because if you have a bunch of corporates, they're not really like founder style. They want to manage risk and take things slow. And
Yeah.
I think even capital is not a moat nowadays, because these big boys have a lot of money, right? That could be a potential moat. But when you can deploy so quick nowadays without all the employees to pay, right? And the risk management and the steps to take, I think these startups will rise hyper quickly, right? We've seen it with OpenClaw, for
Absolutely.
example. That's crazy what's happening, and things. I think that's a future that we'll see, and that is both scary and intriguing for sure. You talk about like all these humans losing their jobs. That's a gigantic concern of mine and many people. I don't think you can repurpose most humans when AI agents are in the equation and they're outperforming them 1,000x per day, right? Like, but I do
Correct.
think there is like an EQ mode for sure that, yeah, since you can't really compete anymore on the IQ, or eventually, I think like EQ will become super important in humans and relationships and how you build them. I need to run. My side. It was nice having you, Jill. Where can people
Yeah,
find out more about you and your company?
absolutely. I guess is one of our products. It's at Build Solutions with an S.ai. And you'll see Gus on there. You'll see the evolution of Gus on there. We're going to go after a totally different vulnerable market that I don't think anybody's looking at right after we launch this broadly within the senior community and get it up and running. So I'll keep that for a surprise for next time.
Yeah, I'll keep checking you out and the updates. Thanks for being on.